From the Sunbelt Conference Bank Plus studio, I'm Jack Benjamin as we get set for our 7th and final Sunbelt Bowl season preview. Tonight it's an all-Carolina clash as Coastal Carolina and East Carolina meet for the first time on the gridiron in the Ticketsmarter Birmingham Bowl. Coastal Carolina is playing in its third consecutive bowl game after appearing in the Cure Bowl twice, and will try for a second straight bowl win after defeating Northern Illinois 47-41 in a shootout a year ago. East Carolina went 7-5 this year. They were 4-4 in the American. They're playing in a bowl game for the first time since 2015. They were going to play in the Military Bowl last year. The game was canceled due to COVID. To break down tonight's final Sunbelt Bowl matchup, we're joined by former NFL and Notre Dame linebacker and current ESPN college football analyst Rocky Boiman. Rocky, always appreciate you joining us. You think about this season for Coastal and what could have been. They start out 6-0. They're 8-1 overall. They're 5-1 in conference play. And then the now three-time Sunbelt Player of the Year, Grayson McCall, goes down with a foot injury against App State. They get blown out in their last couple of games, including the Sunbelt title game against Troy. He did come back in that game. He played well in the second half. It felt like it took him a little while to get his rhythm. Where do you feel like he and this offense are at going into a game where they're probably going to need to score some points?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's going to come down to his health, but you got to give him a lot of credit. You know, he's going to enter the transfer portal, but, of course, being the three-time Sunbelt Player of the Year, but you give him credit because he's going to play in this bowl game. He's going to finish what he started. So I couldn't love that anymore, especially a phenomenal player like Grayson McCall. 8,000 yards, 77 touchdowns, and only 8 interceptions. So, I mean, he's a guy, if he's healthy, he's going to be productive. I actually called Coastal's loss to Old Dominion, which was, you couldn't believe. They couldn't stop the run. And Grayson McCall had gotten a little bit dinged up in that matchup as well. So I think it's one of those things where if he is healthy, even if he's 85, 90%, he's a warrior. He'll go out there and he can really light up that scoreboard.
We talk about Coastal having to score some points to keep up with East Carolina. This is a team in ECU. They have a number of offensive weapons. It starts with a quarterback, Holton Ahlers. He can really sling it, ranks among the nation's best in passing yards. A couple of great wide receivers, Isaiah Winstead, C.J. Johnson, and a 1,000-yard rusher in Keaton Mitchell. They have a lot of different weapons. How does Coastal go about slowing them down defensively? They've had some struggles, a little uncanny this year on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And Coastal's struggles that I've seen is when they haven't been gap sound. A team will, motion and shift and trade and create some gaps on this side and eliminate some gaps on that side. And that certainly is what happened in the Old Dominion game, as I mentioned earlier, that I covered. But I think for them, it comes down to stopping Holton Ahlers, the quarterback for East Carolina. He's been there for about 10 years, I think. He's a lefty. He's a local kid from that area, a super high recruit that they were able to get. And this year, he's really played his absolute best. 3,400 yards passing, 23 touchdowns. He only has 5 interceptions. In years past, he's had a little bit of trouble, taking care of the football. He's not doing that this year. So, again, he's a kid that can throw for a lot. He also is sneaky good at just extending plays. Can find a way to kind of leak outside a little bit and just buy time for some of those great wide receivers he has to get open. So for Coastal Carolina, it comes down to stopping that quarterback and Holton Ahlers and not allowing him to create and extend and beat him down the field with some big passes.
Should be a fun one to finish off our Sunbelt Bowl season coverage. Rocky, can't thank you enough for taking the time to break down all these games with us. Wishing you and yours a happy holidays here moving forward. Thanks so much.
You too, Jack. Thanks.
Well, kickoff at Protective Stadium in Birmingham is set for 6:45 p.m. Eastern, 5:45 Central, and the game will be nationally televised on ESPN with Tiffany Green, Jay Walker, and Jalen Johnson on the call. Be sure to follow all of the Sunbelt football bowl season coverage with the handles @Sunbelt on Instagram and @SunbeltFB on Twitter. From the Sunbelt Conference Bank Plus studio, I'm Jack Benjamin. Enjoy the final Sunbelt Bowl game, everyone.